How did one funny wedding confession turn into divorce papers in my office lobby 3 weeks later? Why did my husband stay calm, collect proof, and get temporary orders that started the same day? I thought I could control the story until the result landed in public. My name is Orual Bennett, and I always knew how to make a room look at me. I worked as a project coordinator at a marketing agency, and my job was simple: keep things moving, keep people smiling, keep the story clean. I did the same in my life. I did not see it as lying. I saw it as leadership. The week before the wedding, I went to the bridal boutique with my mother, my sister Dahlia, and my best friend Jessa. The place smelled like perfume and steamed fabric. The woman helping me spoke softly and asked what kind of bride I wanted to be. I said I wanted to be unforgettable. I meant it. When the consultant pinned the dress, I looked at myself in the mirror and felt calm. I told them I could not believe I was about to marry Calvin Mercer. I said it like it was a joke. My mother laughed right away. Jessa laughed too. Dahlia did not. Dahlia asked if I was sure. She said it was not funny to talk like that. I told her she was taking everything too seriously. I said Calvin knew who I was. I said I was not like other women who pretended. I framed it like honesty was my best trait. The consultant asked how I met Calvin. I gave the version that sounded sweet. I said he was steady and kind. I said he made me feel safe. I did not say the other part out loud, but I felt it in my chest. I liked how Calvin looked next to me. I liked how he made me look. People trusted him. People thought he was good. That helped me. After the boutique, I went to work. The office was open plan and loud, with bright screens and half-drunk coffees. I liked that energy. It made me feel important. That afternoon, Evan Pike came in for a campaign shoot. He did some event video work for our clients, and he knew how to smile like he was in on a secret. Evan asked if wedding stress was hitting me. I said it was fine. I said I was built for pressure. He said I seemed like the kind of woman who deserved more than fine. I laughed and told him to focus on the job. He kept his voice light and said he liked my style. I liked it too. Later, when I walked back to my desk, I saw a message preview from Evan on my phone. He said he could capture the real story if I wanted behind-the-scenes clips. He said it would be fun. I told myself it was work. I told myself it was good content. I did not tell Calvin. At lunch, I met Jessa at a small sandwich place near the office. She was already filming her drink for her story. She asked if I was excited to be a wife. I said I was excited for the wedding. I said the wedding was the point. I said love was not the same as marriage. I smiled so it would sound smart. Jessa asked if I even liked Calvin anymore. I said of course I liked him. I said he was a good man. Then I added that good was not the same as thrilling. Jessa nodded like I was saying something brave. She said most women pretended, but I was real. That made me feel right. When I got home that evening, Calvin was in the kitchen. He had washed the dishes and put the towels away. He did things like that without being asked. Sometimes it felt like kindness. Sometimes it felt like a quiet complaint, like he was showing me what I failed to do. He looked up and asked why I was late. I said, work ran long and vendors were calling. He asked who was calling so much. I said it was wedding stuff and he would not understand. I said it gently, like I was protecting him. I watched his face. He looked hurt and that annoyed me. He asked if I was hiding something. I said he was being paranoid. I said he always did this when things were good. I turned it around fast, the way I always did. I told him he was trying to ruin my mood. I told him I needed support, not questions. Calvin did not raise his voice. He just asked for honesty. He said he did not want surprises. I said surprises were part of life. Then I kissed his cheek, like that solved it. He went quiet after that, and I took that as a win. Noah, my son, came into the kitchen with a school paper. He asked if Calvin could help him with a project. Calvin said yes right away. He asked Noah what he needed, and they sat at the table. I watched them and felt a tight feeling in my stomach. I did not like how easy it was for Noah to love him. It made Calvin look too good. When Noah went to wash his hands, I glanced at Calvin's phone on the counter. A calendar alert flashed for a second. It said, "Meeting, personal," and the time was in the morning. I frowned and asked what that was. Calvin said it was just something he had to handle. He said it was boring. I pushed. I asked why he was acting secretive. He said he was not acting secretive. He said he was trying to reduce stress before the wedding. I rolled my eyes and said he was being dramatic. I said only guilty people needed secret meetings. I wanted to see him scramble. I wanted him to prove he needed me. He did not scramble. He just picked up his phone and put it in his pocket. Then he opened a drawer and pulled out a folder. It had labels on it. One of them said bank, another said utilities. He closed the drawer again like it was nothing. I asked why he had a folder like that. He said he was organizing. He said it was normal. I told him it was weird. I said it made me feel like he did not trust me. I watched his shoulders stiffen. That pleased me more than I wanted to admit. That night, I lay in bed and scrolled through messages. Evan had sent another short text. He asked if I wanted extra footage before the ceremony. He said he knew good angles. I did not answer right away, but I did not delete it either. I told myself it was harmless. Calvin came into the bedroom and asked what I was doing. I said I was checking the seating list. He asked if I needed help. I said no. I said he would only mess it up. He looked at me like he wanted to argue. Then he did not. He turned off the light and lay on his side. In the dark, I still thought I was right. I told myself I deserved attention. I told myself Calvin had it easy because I chose him. I told myself a wife did not owe anyone a perfect heart, only a perfect performance. And in that silence, with my phone warm in my hand, I could feel something shifting. It was small, like a door closing softly. I did not know what Calvin was planning. I only knew I did not like the idea of him planning anything without me. The next day, I acted like nothing happened. I wore my busy bride face and moved fast, like a woman with plans. I liked how people stepped aside for me. It felt like power. The rehearsal dinner was at a family restaurant on the edge of town. It had long tables, warm lights, and loud music that made everyone lean close. My mother arrived early and hugged me too hard. She said I looked like a star. I told her I was trying. She said I did not need to try. She said I was born for it. Calvin came in carrying a small gift bag for my father. He always tried to do the polite thing. He greeted my parents and asked if they needed anything. My father said he was fine. My father always said he was fine, even when he was not. Calvin's mother, Ruth, arrived a few minutes later. She looked neat and serious. She kissed Calvin's cheek and nodded at me. Her eyes did not soften. Jessa sat beside me, already holding her phone like it was part of her hand. She said she wanted cute content from the night. I told her to film the good parts. She said the good parts were whatever I made. At dinner, the waiter asked what we wanted to drink. I ordered something light and sweet. Calvin asked what I wanted to eat and offered to share. I said I did not need help. I made my voice playful, like I was teasing. I watched him smile and swallow his pride. Later, my uncle stood up and gave a short toast. He said he was proud of me. He said Calvin was lucky. Everyone clapped. I felt the room warm up, and I wanted more of that heat. I wanted it to be about me, not us. When it was my turn, I stood with my glass. I looked around at both families and smiled like a host. I said I had to tell the real story of how Calvin won me. I said he was so serious when we met that I thought he was boring. People laughed a little. I could have stopped there, but I did not. I said Calvin chased me for months, like a lost puppy. I said he kept showing up with small gifts and long messages. I said I almost blocked him. I said I only gave him a chance because I was tired of dating. I acted like it was cute. It was not cute, it was cruel, and I knew it. Some people laughed hard. Jessa laughed the loudest. My mother laughed and touched my arm like I had made a clever point. Ruth did not laugh. She set down her fork and looked at Calvin. Calvin's face changed. It was quick, but I saw it. He looked like he had been slapped without a hand. Still, he stayed quiet. He did not shout. He did not slam the table. He just took a slow breath and drank water. That calm made me angry. I wanted him to react so I could call him the problem. After I sat down, Calvin leaned close and asked why I said that. He asked if I was trying to embarrass him. I said I was just making people comfortable. I said everyone needed a laugh. I said he should not be so sensitive. I made it sound like he was ruining the night. He asked if I could talk outside for a minute. I said no, because we had guests. I said we were not going to do drama in public. I made him feel guilty for even asking. He nodded like he understood, but his eyes looked tired. In the bathroom hall, Dahlia caught my sleeve. She asked what I was doing. She said Calvin looked hurt. I said Calvin always looked hurt when he did not get his way. I told her she was choosing his feelings over mine. She said she was choosing basic respect. I smiled and told her she was being dramatic. When I walked back, I noticed Evan near the bar area. He was not part of the family, but he knew how to blend in. He said he was just there to support the shoot and get a sense of the venue. I pretended to be surprised. I asked why he came. He said Jessa invited him, and he wanted to capture some candid moments. I told him it was not necessary. He said it was a gift. He asked if I was okay. I said I was fine. He said Calvin seemed stiff. I said Calvin always acted stiff in social settings. Evan said I deserved someone who could match my energy. I did not answer, but I liked how it sounded. When the dinner ended, people lingered outside under the restaurant lights. The air was cold. Calvin offered to drive my parents home, but my mother said she had it. She told him to let me enjoy my night. She said I needed calm. It was funny, because I was the storm. In the car, Calvin was quiet. I kept checking my phone, even though I knew it would bother him. He asked who I was texting. I said vendors again. He said he felt like I was far away lately. I said he was imagining things. I said stress made him clingy. I chose words that made him doubt his own senses. At home, I went up the stairs first. On the landing, I saw a soft glow from his laptop on the small desk. A spreadsheet was open. I could see rows and columns, but not the title. Calvin stepped in behind me and closed it fast. I asked what that was. He said it was just a list. I asked what kind of list. He said it was boring and I would not care. I said I cared because it was secret. He said it was not secret. He said he was trying to keep things organized. I told him he was acting like a stranger. I told him he was making me feel unsafe with all his private stuff. That was not true. I just did not like not knowing. He looked at me and asked if I wanted to see it. I said no, because then it would look like I was the suspicious one. I wanted him to feel wrong, not me. Later, I went to the kitchen for water. The house was quiet. I heard a sound from the other room, like a machine waking up. Then I heard paper move. When I walked closer, the printer made a soft click and pushed out a blank page. It was completely empty, like it had tried and failed. I stared at it. Calvin came in and picked it up without a word. I asked what he was printing. He said it was nothing. He said the printer was old. He tossed the paper in the trash and washed his hands like it did not matter. I went to bed and scrolled through Jessa's messages. She said the toast was iconic. She said we needed a bigger moment at the wedding. She said people loved honest brides. Evan sent a short text too. He said he liked how bold I was. He said most men could not handle a woman like me. I should have felt shame. I did not. I felt chosen. I told myself Calvin needed to learn his place in my story. I told myself love was not a requirement, respect was, and I thought respect followed results. And I had results. When Calvin lay down beside me, He faced the other way. He did not touch me. He did not argue either. He just asked what time my hair appointment was tomorrow. I told him the time. He said okay, like he was saving it in his head. Then he went silent again, and I stared at the ceiling, annoyed that his silence felt like a wall I could not climb. The wedding day came fast, like a train I could not stop. I woke up in the hotel room with my mother and Jessa moving around me like helpers in a show. My mother said I looked glowing. Jessa said today was about main character energy. I agreed, because I always agreed with anything that made me feel bigger. Calvin stayed in a different room with his groomsmen. That was normal, but I also liked the space. I could breathe without him watching my face. Still, my phone kept lighting up. Evan sent a short message and said he was already at the venue. He said he found a perfect angle for the reception. He said he could catch a moment people never forget. I told myself he meant the first dance. I knew that was not the real meaning, but I liked pretending. At the venue, the hotel ballroom looked soft and clean. Flowers were everywhere. The chairs were lined up like the start of a promise. People hugged me and called me beautiful. I smiled and accepted it like it was payment I earned. Dahlia fixed my veil and asked if I was okay. She said I seemed wired. I told her it was normal. I said she was overthinking again. She asked if I planned to do something stupid. I said she should trust me. I made my voice sweet, like a good sister. Inside, I felt sharp. Before the ceremony, Calvin came near me for a second when no one was looking. He asked if I was nervous. I said I was fine and told him to relax. He asked if I still wanted this. I laughed and said he was being dramatic. He said he just wanted a good day. I said I wanted a good day too. I did not say I wanted a big day. When the music started, everyone stood. I walked down the aisle and watched faces turn toward me. That part felt perfect. Calvin looked at me like I was the only thing in the room. His eyes were wet. I told myself that meant I had power. I did not call it love. The ceremony itself went smooth. The pastor asked if we would support each other. We said yes. I said yes clearly. I did not lie, not in my own mind. Support could mean many things. It could mean letting me be myself. It could mean taking a joke. It could mean not asking hard questions. After the ceremony, people took pictures. Jessa pulled me into poses and told me to tilt my chin. My mother told me to hold my bouquet higher. Calvin tried to stand close and put his hand on my back. I moved a little forward so the photos looked better. I told myself I was just thinking about the camera. At the reception, the lights dimmed and the music got louder. People ate, drank, and started to relax. I watched Calvin go table to table and thank everyone. He looked like a good man. I knew that made me look like a good woman. That should have been enough. But Jessa kept whispering that the night needed a moment. She said people loved truth. She said a bride who spoke her mind was unstoppable. My mother said I should not let anyone control me, even my own husband. I nodded, because I liked being told I was brave. When the time came for speeches, my uncle spoke first. He said Calvin was solid and kind. He said I was lucky. People clapped. I felt heat rise in my face, not from joy, but from irritation. Lucky sounded like I got a prize. I wanted it to sound like Calvin got the prize. Then Jessa stood up. She said I was the life of every room. She said Calvin needed to keep up. People laughed. Calvin smiled like he had to. I watched him and felt a strange thrill. The room was learning how to see him, quiet, stiff, behind me. When the microphone came to me, I took it without shaking. The sound of my own voice in that room felt like oxygen. I looked at Calvin at the sweetheart table. He looked at me with trust, like he believed I would protect him. That trust annoyed me. I started with a smile. I said everyone always asked how I knew Calvin was the one. I said the truth was complicated. I heard some people chuckle. I said I wanted to be honest, because honesty was the foundation of marriage. I liked how that line sounded, like I was wise. Then I said it. I said I never actually loved my groom the way people expected. I said I loved the idea of stability, and Calvin gave that. I said I loved the wedding, and he was part of the package. I framed it like a joke and a confession at the same time. The room made a sound, half laugh and half gasp. I saw phones lift. I saw Jessa's camera light. I saw my mother cover her mouth, but her eyes were smiling. Dahlia looked like she wanted to disappear. Calvin's face went blank for a second. He asked very quietly, if I meant it. I said of course I did not mean it in a bad way. I said people were too sensitive. I said I was just being real. I made it his problem, not mine. The pastor asked if we should pause. I said no, because we were celebrating. I told everyone to relax. I said Calvin knew my humor. I looked at Calvin like I expected him to nod. He did not nod. He just stood up slowly. Calvin did not shout. He did not grab the microphone. He did not call me names. He simply pushed his chair back and stepped away from the table. He walked toward the lobby doors with his shoulders straight. I followed him, still holding the microphone for a second like it belonged to me. I told the room he was being dramatic. I laughed and said he always did this when attention was not on him. Some people laughed with me because they did not know what else to do. In the lobby, I caught up to him near the elevators. I asked what he thought he was doing. He said he was leaving the reception. I said he was humiliating me. He said I humiliated him first. His voice stayed calm, which made me feel even more angry. I asked if he wanted to ruin our wedding. He said I already did. I told him he was proving my point, that he could not handle honesty. He said honesty was not the same as cruelty. Then he walked past me without touching me. Outside in the parking garage, I tried again. I told him he was acting like a victim. I said everyone would think he was weak. I said he should come back inside and laugh it off. He asked me to step away from his car. I stepped back, but I kept talking. Calvin got into the driver's seat and started the car. He did not speed. He did not swerve. He did not do anything reckless. He just drove out like a man leaving a building, not like a man in a scene. I stood there alone, with music still thumping faintly through the walls. My dress felt heavier than before. My phone buzzed with new notifications. People had already posted clips. People had already picked sides. I went back inside and acted like I was fine. I told people Calvin needed air. I told them he had always been emotional. I said I was strong enough for both of us. I smiled in pictures, like the night was still mine. Later, in the bathroom, I opened my social app and posted first. I wrote that my husband walked out because he could not accept who I was. I wrote that I refused to be silenced. I watched the likes start to climb, and I told myself that meant I was right. The morning after the wedding felt wrong, like the air had changed rules. I woke up in the hotel bed alone. My dress hung on a chair like a dead thing. My phone was hot from notifications. I opened the app and saw my post spreading. People were sharing the clip. Some people praised me for being real. Some people called me cruel. I focused on the praise because it was easier. My mother called first. She asked if I was okay. I said I was fine and told her Calvin was being dramatic. She said men hated being embarrassed. She said I should not chase him too hard because it would make me look weak. I agreed, even though I already felt panic. I texted Calvin. I wrote that he needed to come home so we could talk like adults. He did not answer. I called twice. It went to voicemail. I told myself he was trying to punish me. I told myself he would calm down once he missed me. When I checked out, the lobby staff avoided my eyes. A woman at the front desk asked if I needed a taxi. I said no and acted like everything was normal. I walked out with my head high, but my stomach kept flipping. At home, the kitchen looked too clean. The counter had no clutter. The mug Calvin used was not on his usual spot. There were 2 mugs in the cabinet, but they did not sit together anymore. It felt stupid to notice, but I did. I told myself he was being petty. Noah ran in after school and asked where Calvin was. He asked if Calvin would still help him with his project. I said Calvin was busy. Noah asked if Calvin was mad at me. I said Calvin was upset about a joke. I made it sound small, because I did not want Noah to think I did something serious. That night, I heard a soft sound from the hallway, like a drawer closing. I went to look, but nothing was open. The house felt organized in a way that made me nervous. I told myself Calvin had no right to make changes without me. The next day at work, the open plan office felt louder than usual. People looked at me like they knew me and did not know me at the same time. 2 co-workers asked how the wedding was. I smiled and said it was memorable. One of them said she saw a video. I laughed and said Calvin could not handle honesty. I said I was not going to pretend to be someone else. I watched their faces as I spoke. I wanted to see approval. I saw uncertainty instead. That made me talk more. I said Calvin always tried to control the mood. I said he hated attention on me. I said he walked out to make me look bad. I did not mention the words I said into the microphone. I made myself the reasonable one. At lunch, I met Evan at a co-working cafe near the office. I told myself it was just to talk about the video and the fallout. Evan asked how I was holding up. I said I was strong. He said the clip was going viral because I was fearless. I liked that word. He said Calvin leaving was proof he was weak. I agreed out loud, even though part of me knew that was not true. Evan said I should post more and own the narrative. He said silence would make people doubt me. I said I already posted enough. He said my husband might try to twist the story. I said Calvin was not smart enough for that. I regretted saying it right after, but I did not take it back. When I got home, I checked the mail and found a plain envelope with a school notice inside. Nothing important. Still, my hands shook. I hated that my body acted scared when my mind said I was right. Calvin finally texted that evening. He said he would pick up Noah for a few hours on Saturday. He said he wanted it calm. He did not ask about me. He did not ask how I felt. I replied fast and said he could not just take Noah whenever he wanted. I said he was trying to punish me through my child. I wanted him to argue. He did not. He only repeated the time and place for pickup. I told my mother about the message. She said Calvin was trying to look like the good guy. She said I should tell everyone he abandoned us. I said I already did. She said I should remind people again. My sister Dahlia overheard and asked why I kept lying. I said I was not lying. I said I was protecting myself. Dahlia said I was protecting my pride, not my family. I told her she was jealous because I was brave enough to speak. On Saturday, I took Noah to the playground to burn off his energy. Calvin arrived on time. He stayed a few steps away from me at first, like we were strangers. Noah ran to him and hugged him. Calvin hugged back and asked Noah about school. He did not look at me much. That felt like an insult. I tried to pull Calvin into a conversation. I asked if he was going to keep acting cold. He said he wanted peace. I said peace was just another word for control. He said he was not controlling me. He said he was setting boundaries. I laughed and told him boundaries were for people who did not love each other. He asked if I understood what I did. I said I only told the truth. I said if he felt ashamed, that was his issue. I expected him to snap. He did not. He only said he would communicate about Noah and nothing else for now. Then he walked away with Noah to the swings. I watched them from a bench. Other parents glanced at me. I wondered if they recognized me from the clip. I felt heat in my cheeks and stared at my phone, like it could protect me. Later, I went to the supermarket. At the checkout, my card did a strange pause before it approved. A notification popped up on my banking app. It said something about account settings being updated. It did not say much, but it felt like a warning. I told myself it was a normal bank update. Still, my throat went dry. That night, I came home and heard the faint hum of something electrical, like a machine running for a short time. Then it stopped. The house smelled faintly, like warm plastic, like toner again. I went to the office corner and saw the printer tray closed and neat. No paper out, no mess. It looked like someone had cleaned up a trace. I checked the bedroom and saw Calvin's side of the closet had more empty space. Not fully empty, just less. I told myself he was doing it for attention. I told myself he would come back once he saw I would not beg. Still, I did not sleep well. I kept replaying the moment he stood up and walked out. I kept hearing the room's sound, half laugh and half gasp. I kept seeing phones pointed at me like little eyes. In the dark, I told myself I was the victim of his pride. I told myself he wanted to punish a woman for speaking. I held on to that story because the other story, the one where I was cruel on purpose, felt like a trap I could not escape. On Monday morning, I walked into the office like the wedding did not matter. I wore a blazer and a calm face. I told myself I was still the same person. The problem was that everyone else looked at me like I was a headline. In the break room, 2 co-workers stopped talking when I came in. One of them asked if I was okay. I said I was fine. I said people online were dramatic. I said my husband chose to leave, and I could not control his choices. I made it sound like I was the reasonable one. 10 minutes later, my manager sent a message and asked if I could step into HR for a quick word. My stomach dropped, but I kept my chin up. I told myself it was routine. I told myself I would charm my way through it. The HR room was small and too bright. Tanya Ruiz sat across from me with a neutral face. She asked if I knew a video from my wedding was being shared with my name and workplace tags. I said yes. I said it was private and people stole it. I said I was being targeted because I was honest. Tanya asked if I understood how public content could affect the company. I said I did not represent the company at my wedding. I said people were just jealous and bored. Tanya said it was not about jealousy, it was about risk. She asked if I planned to keep posting about my husband. I told her my husband abandoned me, and I had the right to speak. I said silence would make me look guilty. Tanya said this was not a court, and she was not judging my marriage. She said she needed me to stop pulling the workplace into it. She said she was documenting the conversation. I heard that word, documenting, and I felt a flash of anger. I asked if she was threatening me. Tanya said she was following policy. I smiled and said I understood, but my smile felt tight. When I left the HR room, the hallway felt longer than usual. At lunch, I texted Calvin again. I wrote that HR was bothering me because he walked out. I wrote that he should fix it. He did not answer. After work, I drove home and saw Calvin's car in the driveway. My heart kicked. Part of me felt relief, like he finally came back. Another part felt rage, because I did not want him to come back on his terms. He was in the garage, sorting a few boxes. He moved slowly, like he was doing a normal chore. I asked what he was doing. He said he was organizing. I asked what he was organizing. He said he was putting things where they belonged. I stepped closer and saw a neat stack of folders on a shelf. They had simple labels like household and utilities. I saw a sticky note that said, "Bring forms," but I could not see more than that. I asked what forms. Calvin said it was nothing I needed to worry about. I told him I was his wife and I should know. He said we were not acting like a team right now. I laughed and asked if he was trying to punish me. He said he was trying to keep things stable for Noah. I told him I was stable. I said he was the unstable one for leaving a wedding. Calvin asked if we could talk only about Noah for now. I told him he was being cold. I said he was doing this to make me beg. I tried to push his buttons. I said no real man would run away like that. I expected his face to change. He did not change. He asked what time Noah's school pickup was tomorrow. I told him the time, then snapped and asked why he cared now. He said he always cared, and he did not need my permission to care. His voice stayed calm, and that made me feel small. I went inside and saw Noah at the kitchen table with crayons. He asked if Calvin was staying for dinner. I said Calvin had to work. Calvin came in a minute later and asked Noah about his day. Noah started talking fast, like he was holding words in all day. I watched them and felt a hard mix of pride and jealousy. Later that evening, I tried again. When Noah went to his room, I asked Calvin if he was seeing someone else. I asked if that was why he was acting like this. Calvin said no. He said he was not interested in drama. I said I was not making drama. I said he was. He asked if I had been honest with him. I said I told the truth at the wedding. I said the truth should set people free. Calvin said the truth without care was just harm. I rolled my eyes and told him he was trying to play the victim. I noticed his phone on the counter. A silent alarm flashed for a second. It said, "Paper drop." I asked what that meant. Calvin said it was a reminder. I asked a reminder for what? He said it was personal. I walked to the living room and saw his laptop open for a moment. There were tabs that said things like storage options and delivery tracking. I asked why he was looking at that. Calvin closed the screen and said he was handling life. I said that sounded like a threat. He said it was not a threat, it was responsibility. The next day, at the school pickup line, I saw Calvin standing near the gate. He was early. He had Noah's backpack strap in his hand like he had done it 100 times. Noah ran to him and hugged him without thinking. Calvin hugged back and asked if Noah ate his lunch. Noah said he did. Calvin said good. I stood there and felt ignored. I asked Calvin if he was going to keep acting like I did not exist. Calvin said he would talk about schedules and school needs. He said everything else could wait. I said waiting was control. He said no, it was peace. That evening, I went to the pharmacy to pick up Noah's allergy tablets. The line was long. My phone buzzed. It was a bank notification again, something about access and settings. I stared at it too long. The woman behind me cleared her throat. I acted like it was nothing, but my hands shook. When I got home, the house was quiet. I heard a soft hum from the office corner, like a shredder running for a few seconds, then stopping. I walked over and saw nothing obvious. The drawer was closed. Everything looked clean. I went to the bedroom and saw Calvin packing a small bag. I asked where he was going. He said he would stay in the guest room at his mother's house for a few nights, so Noah could have routine without tension. I told him he was punishing Noah. He said he was protecting Noah from our fights. I asked if he was really leaving. He said he was not disappearing. He said he would be consistent. I said he was acting like a stranger with a plan. Calvin looked at me for a long second and said he was done arguing. He said he would handle it properly. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to scream. Instead, I stood there in the hallway and watched him zip the bag, like I was a person in the background of his life. I walked into the office tower lobby with my badge and my coffee, trying to look normal. A man in a plain jacket stepped toward me and asked my name. I confirmed it and he handed me a packet. I said he had the wrong person. He said he was authorized to serve me. The first page said, "Petition for dissolution of marriage and temporary orders." My hands went cold. It listed a parenting schedule for Noah, exchange rules, and a note that I must stop posting about Calvin. An exhibit summary showed the wedding transcript line I said into the microphone, plus message logs with Evan and timestamps. I tried to call Calvin. He did not answer. Tanya from HR came down and asked what was happening. I said he was attacking me. She said the company had to respond. She told me I was placed on administrative leave, effective immediately.